Achoo. Achoo. Constanza, what's this all about?
You need to bathe, and I shall turn around until you're in, as I intend to help you.
What?
I'm going to help you bathe. Now, into the tub. Clothes off and into the tub.
I am quite capable of bathing myself, madam.
Right. Clothes off, wash tub, now.
Fine. Shut your eyes or just turn around or something. Oh, this is improper to the highest degree.
Perhaps, but you're sick, and I won't have you passing out in the wash tub. Now then, my eyes are shut. Do get undressed and don't fuss.
I'm in, ninny head.
Good. Perhaps while I'm at this, I'll wash away the soured look upon your face.
Bloody hell! Are you trying to drown me?
No, just your oh-so-sunny disposition.
Heavens me. I swear if anyone sees us, what in the world will they think?
I doubt much will be thought of it, other than I'm taking care of an ill friend. At least, I hope you'll eventually consider me one after all this. I know I was but a mere child when we first met 5 years ago. But I'm a young woman now, and I hope, however long you stay with us, that you'll come to consider me a companion, a friend.
I don't have many friends. I'll be honest. Never had the time for friendship as a small boy. You see, my father always had my sister and I on the move to perform. People came and people went. I remember I cried once because I forgot to say farewell to some boys that were my age. We played together. And then it was all over. Of course, I suppose it wasn't meant to last. I was always so sick. Or busy with music that I didn't have time to make proper lifelong friends.
That seems rather lonely. Didn't you have anyone waiting for you back home when you weren't travelling? It's never too late to start.
You have a funny way of asking to be a friend, Miss Weather.
Well, I suppose one must be quite the ninny to survive in this world. And making a friend doesn't always have to be under the most typical of circumstances, does it?
No, I suppose it doesn't. There, now we're even.
So that's how you want to play it, huh?
Oh, putting on the brave breeches now, are we?
Indeed I am.
You're ridiculous.
As are you.
Stop it! Stop it!
This is the great Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart ticklish?
No, I certainly am not. No. No.
I thought you certainly were not ticklish, sir. But let's see. What about now?
Please, I can't. I can't. Please, I can't. I can't. Please, I can't. I can't.
I must scrub them, silly.
Please, I can't. Can't. Oh, please. This is the most improper. Lord, I fear, what would your mother say if she saw this?
I must scrub there, silly.
Oh. It tickles. It tickles so much. Oh, please. Miss Whipper.
Perhaps it isn't proper. I apologize. I shan't do it again.
Miss Whipper. But it tickles. It tickles so much. Oh, please. Miss Webber. You lie, Miss Webber. No fair. I must say, that was kind of you. If not at times a bit ridiculous. But thank you for all you've given me today, including the laugh.
Always. After all, I promised I'd take care of you, and I aim to keep that promise.
Your kindness is admirable, Constanza. Oh. If it's not too much trouble, would you sit with me until I sleep?
Of course. Perhaps I could even tell you a story? Would that help? There once was a miller whose only inheritance to his 3 sons was his mill, his donkey, and his cat. The division was soon made. They hired neither a clerk nor an attorney, for they would have eaten up all the poor patrimony. The eldest took the mill, the second the donkey, and the youngest nothing but the cat. The poor young fellow was quite comfortless for having received so little. My brothers and he may make a handsome living by joining their shares together, but for my part, after I have eaten up my cat and made myself a muck from his skin, I must then die of hunger. The cat, who heard all this, but pretended otherwise, said to him with a grave and serious air, "Do not be so concerned, my good master. If you will but give me a bag, and have a pair of boots made for me, then I may scamper through the dirt and the brambles, and you shall see that you are not so poorly off with me as you imagine." He's rather a sweet soul. I truly hope this fever doesn't linger long.
May 15th, 1781. Dearest Father, you know by my last letter that I have demanded a formal dismissal from the Prince, as in fact he himself discharged me. And indeed, in my first 2 audiences, he said to me, "If you can serve me better, you may go about your business." And I answered, "Indeed I shall, your grace." You'll no doubt deny it, but it is as true as the sheer fact that there lies a providence above. It then surprising that at last, irritated to madness by such respectable epithets in the mouth of a prince, such as rogue, rascal, ragamuffin, base fellow, that the "take yourself off" should have been accepted by me in its literal sense. The same day, I brought Count Arco a memorial to present to the Archbishop, and also returned to him the money for my travelling expenses, consisting of 15 florins and 40 chrysons for the diligence, and 2 ducats for my board. He refused to accept either, and declared that I had not the power to throw up my situation without your consent. He said, "This is your duty." And I replied, "I know my duty is towards my father. I know of its importance a great deal more than you ever will, sir." Indeed, I knew my duty towards you, my father, as well, and perhaps better than he did. And I should very much feel regret were I obliged to learn it from him. The Archbishop then said to me, "Very well. You are satisfied? Take the recipient of your discharge. And if not, why, you can ask for it all the same." What a fine distinction! All the edifying things that the Archbishop had said to me in the last 3 audiences, especially in the last, about the pious epithets the admirable man of God applied to me afresh, had such an effect on my bodily frame that the same even at the opera, I was obliged to go home in the middle of the first act in order to lie down. I was very feverish, trembled in every limb, and staggered in the street like a drunken madman. I have stayed in the house both after the unfortunate incident and yesterday, and have since passed the whole forenoon in bed. Of all the things, however, the Count was so friendly as to write all sorts of fine things about me, father, which you probably have been obliged to gulp down. His letter, no doubt, contains many fabulous passages, but those who write comedies must somewhat exaggerate if they wish to gain applause, and not adhere too closely to the actual truth. You cannot fail to appreciate the officiousness of this gentleman, but flying into a passion, for I have too much regard for my health and life to do so. It pains me enough when I'm forced to endure it. I will now tell you the chief reproach brought against my service. I did not know that I was a valet, and that was my ruin. Apparently, I ought to have loitered every morning for a couple of hours in the anteroom. Indeed, I was often told that I ought to show myself more, but somehow I could never understand that it was part of my duty. So I only came punctually when the Archbishop summoned me. I confide to you, briefly, my unalterable situation. But still, the world is welcome to hear it. If the Archbishop of Salzburg were to offer me a salary of 2,000 florins, and any other person 1,000, I would accept the latter, because with the 1,000 I should enjoy health and a peace of mind. By all the fatherly love you have inevitably shown me since my childhood, for which I never through life could be significantly grateful, less so in Salzburg than elsewhere, I adjure you, as you wish to see your son enjoy health and happiness, not to write to me any more on the subject, but to bury it in the most profound oblivion. For one word more would surface to rouse both my spleen and yours. You must yourself own this. Now, farewell. Faithfully, your loving son, W.A.
You seem much better this morning, Herr Mozart.
I am fit as a fiddle, and as fine as the sharpest iron. I thank you so much for your care these last few days.
Of course. I couldn't bear to think of you suffering from that dreadful cold.
Yes. Well, with you as a caregiver, I think I could survive 1,000 colds. Your daughter is the most extraordinary nurse, Cecilia, and I appreciate the consideration for my well-being. You must be proud of her kindness, for certain.
Well, she's nothing if not exceptional, I suppose.
Was it something I said?
Is there anything from Pierre and Johann, Mama? From their travels across Rome?
Not yet. It seems your brothers are too busy gallivanting with the funds they scrap together to write much.
Brothers? I recall Johann from when I first met your family, but I'm not too familiar with Pierre. Madam, what does he do for a living?
Pierre's my oldest, and he was long gone whence you came about into our life 5 years ago. He was fortunate to take on work as a printer and wished Johann to be his apprentice. They took to Rome on a considerable offer from a long-term client and have been away for quite some time.
A fascinating endeavour! I'm surprised neither artisans or musicians, given how gifted your young ladies are.
Quite the contrary. Johann's skilled in the trumpet and flute. He's an alto in regards to his singing. But, unfortunately, our Pierre has no ear at all.
Oh, I see. I'm not entirely sure Johann and I would mesh well. You see, I'm not quite fond of the trumpet or flute. It both hurt my ears.
I remember you mentioned that at a dinner the other night. I'm sure Johann would understand too.
Did I ever tell you about this amusing situation that happened when I was in Italy with my papa many years ago?
Oh, I love a good story. Do tell us, Herr Mozart.
It was quite hilarious. You see, we had gone to Italy to perform for some noble in the great courts. As such, we were attaining the aristocracy and the like.
Like kings and queens?
In a sense, yes. However, this is the funny bit. Once some man of great significance, might have been a cardinal or some other holy person, I can't exactly recall. Anyways, he come bounding after me in the street yelling, "Herr Mozart! Herr Mozart!" Pardon me, young sir, but are you Herr Mozart? And I, with not a hint of obvious humour in my eyes, though I was being quite silly, I turned to him and answer, "No, sir. I'm Trazon."
What did he do when you said that?
He looked as stunned as a goose before it's plucked for Christmas. His eyes were wide and his face all flushed. "Trazon," says the man. "I'm looking for Herr Mozart. Pray tell me where I can find him." I swear, he nearly soiled himself with fury and frustration at that very moment. The old clod was so baffled, he didn't realise I spoke my own name backwards to him. It's something I'm good at, you know. I even sign my letters that way sometimes, merely to get a laugh out of my sister, of course.
Oh, Herr Mozart, you're rather ridiculous.
I am. But one has to be if you're to survive a world of pompous snakes and vipers in our society. I mean, what is life without laughter? I think it's been quite a dull one indeed.
I'm going to pour the coffee, I believe. Would you care for some, sir?
Yes, indeed, thank you. I'm rather fond of it. It's not quite like wine or tea, but it does wonders for one's energy and creativity.
Mama, is there anything of value for me in the mail this morning?
I suppose you'll just have to dig through and see.
Are you waiting on something important, Sophia?
Possibly.
A love letter.
Unfortunately, that's a secret.
Yes, indeed. The best secrets are kept close to one's heart, you know. And, of course, we must have them. After all, it would be a shame to spoil one's soul all the time.
Here we are. I hope the coffee is to everyone's liking.
It's most delicious, sister. Thank you.
'Tis fine, I suppose.
Wonderful. Can I get you anything else this morning, Mozart?
Goodness, no. I couldn't eat another thing, Miss Webber. This is plenty. Thank you for the coffee as well.
Of course. I'm happy to be of assistance to you. Is the coffee distasteful, sir? I'm so sorry. I'll pour you a fresh cup right away.
No, not at all. It's merely a touch sweeter than I usually take it. That's all. I was surprised, is all. You needn't busy yourself with a new cup.
How do you usually take it? So, for next time.
Quite plain, but I appreciate yours all the same. It's lovely, Madam Webber. I promise you.
You're too kind. Thank you. Although now, I have to ask, what other daring adventures do you have to share, oh Sir Trazom?
Too many, I fear, to recount, Madam Webber. But I could be persuaded to share a few more.
Is that so? You intrigue me, sir.
You look distressed, Mama. Who's the letter from?
It's an outrage! That's what it is!
Outrage. 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 Outrage.
You're funny, Mozart, but do watch out. Mama may not like you imitate.
Outrage. Outrage. Sorry. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. Outrage. 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 It seems I must hush. It seems I must hush. I'm sorry.
Are you well, Mozart?
Yes. I'm just a silly ninny. My papa says sometimes I repeat things like a pretty parrot. I can't help it. It's rather embarrassing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Enough, Wolfgang. I swear, your foolhardy tongue is fiendish, impulsive. And stop this endless prattle. You'll chatter on as an idiotic bird. Stop it with your hands at once. Must I get out my rod and smack your knuckles, lad? Oh, Providence, spare me your stupidity. I discipline you before you learn to cease this madness. How many times will you act out and spew such nonsensical rhetoric? If you never learn to quell your wretched mouth, you'll end up in a sanitarium or worse, mobbed. People will laugh at you. They'll call you a saucy fellow a clown. Or worse, they will think of you as a retarde. Do you want that?
No, Papa. I don't want that at all. I'm sorry. I can't help it. It's rather embarrassing.
It's all right. We all have our habits, our unusual oddities. Sophie chews on her hair ribbons, you know. It's why they're always in need of mending.
Oh, that's quite silly. Outrage! Outrage! Ah, bloody plastic mouth. You'll never know when you need a bit of glove for your breakfast, I suppose.
Mama, what in heavens has you all shook up?
It's utter hypocrisy. Latent lies.
What is it, Mama? What's got your feathers all ruffled?
I swear this fellow was naught but a chore bacon, Constanza. And I pleaded, "Dear God, please spare me the headache, sir. I tell you, I've seen starlings learn quicker than louts such as you." Louts! That's a funny word. Louts, louts. Outrage, outrage. I mean, even a newborn colt is quite as intelligent, and would be better trained to play the pianoforte in a heartbeat than a loggerhead.
How terribly awful! You surely didn't.
Does a lamb lay crumpets in the bushes? I surely did. I could be nothing if not honest. I speak my mind. Why faff about with pointless drivel? Although he was far from happy with me. As much is clear.
Oh, Mozart, you're vulgar.
Yeah. My sincerest apologies. I'm sorry, Miss Webber. That might have been a bit too colourful. I'll quell my tongue. Hello, Madam Cecilia. Have I done something wrong?
That remains to be seen, Herr Mozart. Perhaps you care to explain this?
That remains to be seen. What is it?
Read it for yourself, bloody clod.
Who's it from, Mozart?
My father.
Dearest son, as I confess, I find myself scarcely able to keep my quill steady as I write to you. How can you abandon your post with the Archbishop? Why can you never keep your temper at bay and do as you're told? Your heated, waggling mouth will and has now been your downfall. How shall you live without proper employment? Does you have any bearing of understanding what pain you have caused me? Come home to Salzburg. I implore you. That was what you said, did you not? Would you declare? You would return home. Why have you not? And what is this? What say you of your current lodgings, Frau Weber? How can you lodge with those foul and corrupt souls? Her daughters are praying peacocks who sell themselves to willing imbeciles, and they disregard good Christian values. Not to mention, they're all for naught, financially irresponsible paupers who've once tried to ensnare you some years before. I thought I had spared you their vaporous tongues and their talons which dig at your soft and simple heart. But I see I was mistaken, and they have caught you as a rat in their trap. You should have never left the Archbishop, Wolfgang. How could you do this to me and to Narelle? Do you dare to selfishly sacrifice your sister's future simply because you cannot keep your head down when spoken to? You always do this to us. After all we have given you, after all I have sacrificed for your life, this insolence is how you repay us. Will you now beg for your bread, when it could easily be given to you by remaining humble and idle and grateful in the presence of Colorado? Is this your desire? What will you do now? Will you remain in Vienna with those vile and wicked adventuresses? There is nothing there for you but a bed of straw and dead ends. Come home, I beseech you. Wolfgang, obey me, heed me. Come home. I hardly believe you have such a hatred of Salzburg, and there nothing in Vienna that is worth delaying the inevitable decisions to leave it as swiftly as you can, so that I may see you and beg the prince for your indiscretions. Ever your father, Leopold Mozart.
Mozart? Are you all right, sir?
It remains to be seen. Outrage. Outrage.
What? I don't understand your meaning.
Madam Cecilia, you have my humblest of apologies for this cause of offence. My father's words are crude and insecure and deeply rooted in heresy. That remains to be seen. Be seen. I am... You must believe me. I swear to God on high that I have only written to him a few times of you. And with that, I've only ever written of your unwavering kindness towards me. Therefore, what he's suggesting has nothing to do with my thoughts, nor my feelings about your family, I assure you.
And you are not telling a falsehood?
I swear to you, I would never. I respect your daughters and you too much. I give you my word.
Well, I'm appalled by Leopold's behavior, but at least his son has a modicum of respect and humility. How that man happened to raise you. If this is how he sees and desires to speak about my girls and I with such impudence, I'll never know.
I'd like to think I took after my mother, madam. God rest her eternal soul. Papa gave me an education in music, but my mother was the gentler of the two. She taught me much too, respect and decency, among other things.
What did he say? Wolfie, tell us.
I would encourage you both not to. It's completely unkind and disrespectful, and I'm going to rectify this immediately. Madam Cecilia, Weber, Sophia, Constanza, Josephina, you have my word. If you'll please excuse me, I have to write to my father on this matter. Adieu. I pray your breakfast is not soured because of my father's ungentlemanly words. Madam Cecilia.
That, Herr Mozart, remains to be seen indeed.
Dearest father, I could expect nothing else but that in your first burst of anger. Having felt so sure of seeing me, and the event having taken you quite by surprise, you would write in the very strain which I have been obliged to read. But by this time you must have thought better of the matter, and as a man of honour, feel more strongly the insult, and must know and see that what you thought likely to occur has already occurred. To have to get away from Salzburg would have been every day more difficult, for there the Archbishop is lord and master, but here a nobody, just as I am in his eyes. Besides, believe me, such is my warm love for you, that if the Archbishop had given me 100 gulden more, I would have accepted them, and then it would have been the old story over again. I assure you, my good father, I need all my manly energy of mind to write to you what good sense dictates. God knows what a heavy blow it was to separate from you, but I would rather beg for my bread than any longer serve such a callous master. So long as I live, I can never forget the past. I implore you, I adjure you, by all you hold dear in the world, to strengthen me in this resolution, instead of trying to dissuade me from it. It only makes me miserable and idle. My wish and my hope is to gain honour, fame, and money, and I have every confidence that I shall be far more useful to you in Vienna than if I was still in Salzburg. I also must confess that what you write of the Webers, I do assure you, is not the fact. I was a fool about Madame Lange, I own, but what is a man not when he is in love? I did love Logia, truly, and even now I feel that she is not indifferent to me. It is perhaps, therefore, fortunate that her husband is a jealous man and never leaves her, so that I seldom have an opportunity of seeing her. You must in turn believe me when I say that old Madame Weber is and has been a very obliging person, and I cannot serve her in return, in proposition to her kindness to me, for indeed I have no time to do so. I eagerly expect a letter from you, my good kind father. Cheer up your old son, for the idea of displeasing you can alone make him unhappy under such promising circumstances. Adieu. 1,000 good wishes. If you can't, however, believe that I have stayed here merely out of hatred of Salzburg and a foolish infatuation for Vienna, then make an inquiry, Herr von Struck, in the service of the Emperor, who is a great friend of mine, will no doubt write you the truth. Faithfully, your ever dutiful son, W.A. Mozart. Yes? Yes, you may enter. What's all this?
You didn't finish your breakfast, so I brought it up. Figured you need it if you're going to be busy working all day.
Wait a moment. Thank you. You don't have to do that. But I am thankful.
Of course. Well...
Is something else the matter? You look a little uneasy, Miss Weber.
Well, I suppose there is a little curiosity in unease both. My mother's all in a fit now over that note, and I have to ask, whatever did that awful letter say, Wolfgang? I mean, Mozart. Oh, goodness, that was quite improper. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I don't mind. And to be perfectly transparent, what my father said is of no consequence. In fact, this is what I think of his prattle. There, we needn't worry our heads about what he says.
Mozart, is that wise? To toss his words so carelessly into the flame?
Yes, it is. Truthfully, my father may as well have written so carelessly with the very same flames. I believe it's befitting for such unkind behaviour towards those who gladly obliged me.
You're a kind man, and I truly hope your time with us has been thus far satisfactory.
It has been, honestly. I'm appalled that my father would spew such slanderous nonsense. Thus, as I said I would, I've written a response to his accusations. Rest assured, this matter will be settled in due time, and quickly.
I'm grateful, Mozart.
None of that. I don't mind being called Wolfgang, or Wolfel, if you feel inclined. I think I'd prefer it to Herr Mozart all the time. In fact, you cannot call me Herr Mozart unless you are cross with me. And I will not answer it. Do you hear?
All right then, Wolfgang. I suppose I'll leave you to your work, but I was wondering...
Yes, is there something I can help you with, Miss Weber?
Help? Oh no, you see, our family has tickets to an opera this weekend, and we'd invited a friend. But she's fallen sick with a bad cold, and it'd be a waste of a ticket. Therefore, I suppose I'm wondering, would you join us in her stead?
I would be delighted to accompany your family to the theatre, Madam Weber.
How wonderful! I look forward to it.
Is there something more, Madam Weber?
Indeed, there is. For the future, I prefer Constanza, or Stanza, if you feel inclined, or Fiddle. You cannot call me Miss or Madam.
You have my word, dearest Stansel. I shall only call you Miss Weber when I'm cross with you.